from Perlo's house of NHL chat and stuff. Doesn't really ring off the tongue, does it? But I'm from Rico and Perlo's house of exotic Hyman's picks, Frolic. And I'll be looking at the game tonight at about 10:30, between 10:30 and 11 Eastern, where we go over all of our bets. I'll be by myself, but tomorrow, the Saturday morning at 10:30 Eastern, we'll be on Exotic Wagers channel on his show called The Forecheck. And by we, I mean JD, the Statmaster J, Jonathan Davis, awesome NHL reporter for the LA Kings. He's on VSiN, Sirius Radio, very prominent personality in the NHL. And Dre, Mr. Parlay Dre, one of the greatest parlay NHL cappers I have ever seen. But today we're going to be looking at more Dylan Larkin stuff. It just keeps on going with Dylan Larkin. I did a video yesterday, did a live yesterday on where I thought he was going to go. I'm pretty confident of it. Still am pretty confident of it. And all the shenanigans that went on with it. And we're going to talk more about it. As well as the Tampa Bay Lightning. Something nobody's talking about right now, but I'm wondering if maybe Tampa Bay, maybe not this year, maybe, but it's coming. It's coming, boys and girls, where Tampa Bay may start looking at retooling a little bit, at the very least, if not rebuilding. So here we go, Jaime's Body Lube. This is our barbecue summer set. As you say, let me get this out here. Let me get this full. You've got smoked maple, spicy chipotle, and citrus herb. Oh, absolutely fantastic. Thanks for Larry for doing this up for me, fueled by Perlo's NHL POW. Made for summer. This is beautiful, isn't it? You can buy this by the vat. Just go down to your Costco there, ask them for their lube section and where you might buy a vat of Jaime's if you're not doing it already. Pretty much everybody in the land knows about that, though, right? Right. Okay. So let's look at, is Larkin a number one center? I'm having this discussion on Twitter right now. I'm having wild discussion, argument, what have you. Holy smokes, I got a lot of notifications on this. Let's see, what do we got here? Kane and Cat are staying in Detroit. I doubt it. Okay, Kane and Cat are staying in Detroit. Minnesota has shit to offer Larkin, delusional much. That's my answer. So I'm going to answer back to him and say, Larkin is waiting for Minnie. Stevie will have to hold out. There we go. Check my profile for more. Yeah, I said that I just believe Larkin's. Why am I calling him a winger? Oh, shit. I said I made a mistake and called him a winger, and I don't think I can fix it. Nah. I took too long to edit it. Damn. Okay. Anyways, I'm looking down here, and I'm getting raked over the coals like normal on Twitter, like everybody else. Yeah, so that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm going to give my reasoning as to why Larkin is a number one center. Let me share screen here. I wonder if I got to take that other thing down if I'm going to share screen though. I think I might have to take the Jaime's body loop thing down. Unfortunately, NHL player cards. Okay, I should have Larkin up there right now. Oh no, it puts it down there in the corner. Isn't that nice? Dylan Larkin. There you go. Have him right now. All right, Dylan Larkin, 88%. Yes, he had a bad year defensively last year. It wasn't a good year. But to tell you the honest truth, I don't know how much his heart was in it last year. And he faded down the stretch. But normally he's 50% or just above 50% analytic wise. He plays against elite competition, 99% top competition. There's not too many players in the league play that. That means his coach is deploying him against number one lines on the road and at home, which ideally as a coach, you want to get your offensive top line away from top lines, which usually tells you that the coach doesn't trust the other players on the team to do it. And that makes sense. I mean, who is their second line center? Casper at times, Kopp. Kopp can play, take defensive zone starts. Larkin took the most defensive zone starts of any forward in Detroit last year, and the most offensive zone starts. So Kopp can, but he does so against low competition. I bet you. I haven't even looked. That's 70%. So he took some of it. Had a good defensive year too. Really good defensive year for him. But I mean, he's not taking a lot of it because Larkin is obviously going up a lot against top comp. So he's pretty good defensively. He's not bad. He's not a second liner. He's used as a second liner, but he's not. And he did this while did this every year while producing 70 to 80 points a year, somewhere around there. That is a number one center. 93% WAR as a number one center, which means 93% WAR means he's better than 93% of the players out there. Now, a lot of players could be equal to. There are a lot of players that will be equal to. The argument I'm getting is, he's not elite like, say, Crosby, McDavid, McKinnon. Somebody said Johnston, but Johnston in Dallas, but I would put him above Johnston. Those Barkov, but all the guys you're naming were picked. Eichel, I agree, he's not in that category for sure. But those were all players that were taken with top 2 picks in the draft. The only one, Eichel, was traded where Vegas took advantage of a Buffalo team that couldn't build a bird cage with popsicle sticks if they had the best directions in the world. So they scooped Eichel. That's a rare thing that you're going to be able to get that type of player. To have Larkin is better than a lot of number one centers in the league. You can make a case he's better than Aho in Carolina, and they're in the finals with him. Well, let's take a look at that. We'll go Aho. Yeah, no, they're both the same. Larkin's has been better defensively. Like I said, last year he didn't really have, and Aho is really good on the PK. So they're about equal. So it's like having he's somewhere around as good as Aho. So it's not impossible to win a cup with a Larkin, if assuming Carolina wins a cup or even make the finals at the very least. And the other thing people talk about is this lack of 5-on-5 scoring. But lack of 5-on-5 scoring. However, he plays against elite competition every night. And, he's not a Crosby. He's not McDavid. If you play against elite competition and you get played in a shutdown role, getting 5-on-5, especially I gotta take this I gotta talk about this, especially when you're playing with a top-heavy team like Detroit. Like, their second line was DeBrincat plays really well, and Kane, he's not taking any defensive zone starts. He barely even enters the defensive zone. And so teams know that they can target Larkin, Raymond, that top line, and do some damage. So if you're getting, I know he only got 25 regular season points, but he's just put in a really tough position to do so. And I think the steam was coming out of, obviously he's asking for a trade. This is not an easy decision for Dylan Larkin. This is his hometown team, man. Like, this guy was a bought-in hometown, took the captaincy type guy that loved Detroit. This is really probably a very difficult decision and something that's been weighing on him for a bit. Last year, when Stevie Yzerman wasn't a buyer, like the year, not this past season, but the season before, wasn't a buyer at the deadline, he lost shit, apparently. Enough that it got out publicly. Like, he was mad. And Stevie Yzerman promised him that if they were in a position to win the next time, that he would go out and do something, which put his back up against the wall. And he ended up having to pay too much for a guy like Falk. And then Larkin finished the season. He looked at everything and said, where are we going here? I'm 30 years old now. Where are we going? How much longer is this going to be? And I think a big one was also when, they were going to acquire Quinn Hughes. They were looking to acquire Quinn Hughes. Now, the story out there is that it was Edvinsson plus. I don't know what the plus was. Probably Casper or something like that. Okay. Stevie Y didn't get the feel that Quinn Hughes was willing to sign long-term. Now, I don't know if that means he wanted something concrete. Honestly, you can't really do something too concrete because it goes against the Quinn Hughes can't give anything concrete until the last year of his contract. But he can certainly talk through his agent and say some things that lead you to believe that he would want to sign long-term. Stevie Yzerman got the impression that he didn't want to sign long-term. And I don't blame him. If I'm Quinn Hughes, I don't blame him. This is a team that hadn't made the playoffs in 9 years. If he gets traded to them, they take out Edvinsson. Is this team a contender? Hughes would have to ask himself that. Is this team a contender if I go on this team? Is this a team that is going to be a contender if I go to Detroit? And it could have gone many ways. It could have been that the way I see it is Quinn did not get it across that he was willing to sign long term. Now, publicly, he said that he was very open to a contract in Minnesota. Now, apparently, that doesn't go against the rules. I wonder if it skirts it of, flat out saying that you're going to sign in Minnesota. He's not allowed to say that. But he can apparently say he's very open to the idea. So did he say to Stevie Y, I'm very open to the idea of going to Detroit. I would say probably not. And if I'm Stevie Yzerman, I don't blame him for not trading Edvinsson Plus for a guy who's only a year and a half when you are not good enough to win a cup. Even if they put Hughes in that lineup, they're not a contender. He's put in a tough spot. Now, has Stevie Y put himself in a tough spot? That's debatable. I mean, certainly not taking Quinn Hughes when they could have, and they took that. I always forget his name. He was a winger, and there was a lot of question marks about his attitude, like his overall, how to explain it, maturity. Apparently, this guy put way too much pressure on himself. What was his name? Somebody out in the chat help me here. Zadina. That's it. Sometimes I got to say it out loud. Zadina. So, I mean, he could have had Quinn then. And, you know, he got very unlucky at the draft. He was always picking low. He did a great job picking Sider. His other picks, lower picks, I mean, this has been 9 years now. And I wouldn't say that he's got a huge bushel of prospects sitting in the prospect pool. Danielson kid, he did pretty well last year. He looks going to progress. He doesn't look like he's going to be a number one guy. He doesn't look like he's going to be as good as Larkin. But, you know, he's got a lot of potential. They're probably going to give him a good shot to play next year. Let's look at some more of the guys that they got. Well, you know, they picked Sandin Pellikka. He was definite. Kind of had a bit of a hiccup last year. Still got to improve defensively, but I think he's going to be a player. Like, he's only 21 years old. He's got a ton of skill. I think he's going to be fine. So, you know, that was a decent pickup, and I really like the Brandeskog Nygaard, Michael Brandeseg Nygaard. I like him. But again, is he a top tier player? He's certainly really good at all three zones defensively. He's very good. And that's common with all of these picks. Danielson looks like a guy like that. They all look like guys that can play really well defensively and maybe pot you like 50 points, hopefully higher. Marco Kasper has a letdown on his sophomore year. He could have a rebound. But I think Dylan Larkin is looking at this team and going, there's a lot of ifs here, and I'm 30 years old now. The rebuild didn't happen. And like I said, so when Hughes goes there, apparently I just found out that they're actually really good friends as well. Hughes tries to go there. They have the same agent. Whoops. I don't want to do that. I almost turned the stream off. Let me get this. They have the same agent. So, you think they talked? Same agent. They were friends before, from the same area. You don't think Quinn Hughes and Dylan Larkin were talking back and forth as they discussed whether he was going to be a Detroit Red Wing or not? I don't know. I do know. I mean, the likelihood is yes. Really high percentage of yes. And then Quinn Hughes, especially if Quinn Hughes did say he was willing to sign there, and then Stevie Yzerman said, I don't want to take the chance, or I don't want to give up the pieces to get to you. I don't think it's worth it. Then I think Dylan Larkin, that would have been the straw right there. That would have been the straw. I think Dylan Larkin would have been, okay, that's it. I'm done. If that were the case. So Hughes goes to Minnesota. He claims that he is very open to signing with Minnesota. I personally believe he is going to sign there. I'm going to share this out. I personally think he is going to sign there. All indications to me show that he is. There was also New Jersey in the mix, and it appears he didn't really say he was going to sign long in New Jersey either. There was talk about how he wondered how it was going to affect his brother. He didn't want to take the spotlight off his brother or something like that. It does make some sense. I mean, financially speaking, he'd probably be better for both of them to be in different markets still. Financially speaking, it could be better that they'd be in different markets. It is possible that New Jersey balked at the price, and he ended up not going there because Vancouver wouldn't trade him there, and he had no trade protection. And now he's going to Minnesota, and he does plan to go to New Jersey afterwards. So you got to look at that with Stevie Y too. If he had any thought that, hey, he's going to New Jersey anyways, are you going to give up Edvinsson, Casper, first-round picks, and then he's gone in a year and a half when you're not even probably a contender with him on your lineup? Probably not. Probably not. I mean, I totally get it. I might stay on for a while today, actually, too. Let me share this out. So yeah, I was listening to the Sick podcast with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy. Jimmy Murphy, if you're out there, I've been messaging you, and now you're not talking to me anymore. Don't know why. Busy guy, I guess. And they were convinced that he will give them a couple teams to go to. I think what's going to happen is he's going to say, I want to go to Minnesota, like a lot. And then Stevie Y is going to tell him, well, tell your agent to make a deal and they'll see if I can do it. And they'll make the deal with Minnesota. And then they'll send it back to Stevie Y, and Stevie Y will say, I need this or I need that or whatever. And then maybe Stevie Y will figure out, wait a sec, all these trades are Minnesota. Why? He's like, yeah, I want to go to Minnesota. And then it's going to be like, my biggest concern here is it gets ugly. That's my biggest concern is it gets ugly. But I don't even think Minnesota is going to want it to get ugly. I think Minnesota is going to want to put this to rest pretty quick. I don't think they're going to want that on their palette either. So I did a deal, and my gosh, it's gone like very viral. It's crazy. I wonder if I can post it up on Twitter. I'll post up my Twitter here. Yeah, I posted up on Twitter. Profile. I got a deal that I posted up on Twitter, and it's going semi-viral. It's crazy. I didn't think it would go like this, and I get like lots of people talking to me about it. I don't know what viral is, but it's viral for me. Like 70K people check this out. That's a lot for me. I don't usually get that many people, unless I'm promoting Jaime's products, of course. Can you see that? Oh, I gotta hide it. I gotta unhide it. Show. Yeah, it's right here. It's right here. Oh yeah, there we go. So it was Larkin to the Wild, to Detroit, Urov. It's a three-way trade. Urov, Pedersen, DeBrusk, and Brodin. And I'll explain the deal as after I do it. To Vancouver, Strommel. The Wild's first in 2027, and a bit of a cap dump with JT Compher. So basically, the Wild give up Urov, Brodin, Strommel, and a first. And I think something like that is what Stevie Yzerman is going to be looking for, going to be holding out for. And if it's less, I think it drags on a little bit. That deal might work. Really, it depends on how big you are on Strommel. I personally, if you go to JFresh Analytics and you look up at prospects, I think Strommel's got like a 19% chance of being an NHL regular. I know people in Minnesota fans in Minnesota, like fans of their teams, have a generally think their prospects are going to be way better than they are. But he's 20. He's on the third year of his draft. After his draft year, he had just over like 3 points over a point a game. And he had a boom. Like the year before, he had like 12 or 13 points. And then he had a boom. Those players generally don't end up being like stars or anything like that in the NHL. Like usually bottom six. Now, I don't know his whole game. I don't know how good he is defensively or anything like that. I will admit. Somebody in the chat said he watched him at BU all year, and he's going to be. He wanted to say. I can't remember the player he said, but it was going to be like a really big player. And I just said, well, maybe you're right, and I hope for Strommel and whoever you get him, he is. But generally speaking, that kind of progression does not end up that way. It just doesn't. So, in my mind, Vancouver's getting a flyer in Strommel, although a good prospect. 2027 first. I think they're happier than shit. Because right now, from what I understand with Pedersen, there's only been really one team that's had interest, and they wanted $3 million, them to retain $3 million, and they wouldn't do it. But in this case, if Steve Yzerman is kind of painted in a corner, now Steve Yzerman could say, screw you, give me more teams, or you're sitting. That's it. You're not going to play on the team, you're going to sit, or you're going to play on the team. But if he does that, he's got to go to his owner and say, oh, by the way, we're probably not making the playoffs again this year. And I don't think that's going to sit well. Plus, they have sponsors and everything like that. It's been 9-10 years. And you're going to have to tell your fans, oh, yeah, we're probably going to suck again this year. And you're going to have to know you're probably going to suck again this year. Even if he plays, the energy in the room and all that stuff like that, I would be betting Detroit to miss the playoffs for sure. I don't think he wants that. I don't think Larkin wants to waste another year of his career, obviously, feeling like that is probably the case by asking for a trade. So I think he's going to be pretty motivated to get a deal done. Minnesota, their window, I mean, we don't know if Hughes is going to sign, right? Maybe backdoor. There's probably been some backdoor talks and they have an idea, but it doesn't matter. They're not trying to win tomorrow, although they have tons of cap space next year. Even if they sign Hughes to a 17 mil, I think they'll still have 23 million in cap space to go with. Maybe a little less than that, maybe like 13 or 14 million. So they're going to be motivated. I don't think they want the media circus that's going to happen if Larkin sits and he only wants to go to Minnesota. Man, that's just not going to be good for anyone in this situation at all. But I completely understand why Larkin would, I've talked about it. You can watch it in the video. I can understand why he'd want to go there. It's close to home. He has his buddy there in Hughes. Is close to his immediate family. Seems to be a big family guy. Doesn't have to go too far. He doesn't have to play in Detroit all the time either. And this is something that that I don't think people think about too. If I'm Dylan Larkin, I'm not wanting to play Detroit 7 times a year. That's going to be a circus every time you go there. If you go to Minnesota, you're close to Detroit, but you're also in the Western Division, so you might go there twice a year. And if you're Stevie Yzerman, I don't think he minds the idea of going to Minnesota rather than a division rival, like say if he were to say Boston or even anywhere in the East. So that's a little lift in. That's a little thing that might sway Stevie Yzerman to be okay with this deal. Now, getting Urhoff, there was talk of, again, Minnesota fans have a tendency to over any fans, not just Minnesota fan, any fan, usually fans of a team overvalue their players. Like Urhoff looks like he's going to be good. Let's face it, though. There was a lot of time. He was on the top line last year. Is it Eck was injured? And they were using him on the top line. And he didn't do bad. He held his own all right. But 27 points in 74 games. He's 22 years old now. And I've watched him a lot. If you look at his analytics model, he's not the most skilled guy in the world. He looks like he's going to be a tweener 2-3. A guy that can play 2, a guy, if you need him, 3 in the best case scenario. Big guy, good player, don't get me wrong. Very, very good player. But I think Urhoff is going in any deal that Minnesota is going to make, like they say, scrap this, we'll go get Trocheck. Trocheck is nowhere near the player Larkin is. We're going to go get Trocheck. I'm pretty sure Urhoff's going to be in that deal anyways. But Minnesota fans saying, no, we're not giving up Urhoff. Are you kidding me? He's going to be a future top-end second liner. I'm like, I don't see that, buddy. I don't see it. I don't think that Yzerman or most of the people and most of the teams out there see that either. He could overreach his projection and be better than what we think. Absolutely. It happens all the time. But if you're going on trajectory on where he's at right now based on his skill level and everything, it's not really likely that he goes that. It has happened. It does happen. It does happen that players, something clicks and they get the right combination and they work on their skill level continuously, and it just gets better and better. It does happen. But in his case, it could, and that'd be great for Detroit if that happens that way. But the fact of the matter is, more often than not, players with his analytic model at his age that has done what he's done up until now don't end up top end second line centers. So and then they take a chance on. Okay, well, first they get I have Brodeen going in this one, and that's a big pickup for Detroit in a way. And had people asking me like, why would they have to give up Brodeen here? Maybe they don't. Um, I am basing this on what I think Stevie Yzerman would find satisfactory for him going to Minnesota. That's what I'm basing on this. I'm basing on the fact that he's going to have to fill the center position now. He's going to want to haul back, and nobody wants this to go into a drama. Nobody, including Minnesota. I'm basing it on that fact. So, Brodeen, yeah, he's a very good shutdown defenseman, and they would have to find a way to replace him. I don't know when they could do that in the year, but they won last year quite a bit without Brodeen in the lineup because he's injured all the time. And that's going to be something Stevie Yzerman has to think about too. But like if he's in a situation like I think he is, I think he'd be happy to get one of the better shutdown center defensemen in the league to put Sherratt down on the bottom pair, assuming Brodeen can stay healthy, which he doesn't do too often. So then like the 2027 first for the Wild, that's going to be gone probably with any first lines number one center they can get. And I just did a showing of how Larkin is a number one center. He's not an elite number one center, but he's a number one center. Then the first round pick, and for that they also lose JT Compher, who I think they would like to get his cap off of the books, because I didn't even look at that though. I just assumed I should not do that. Was he crazy enough to get JT Compher trade protection? Oh my God, he does have trade protection. Maybe JT Compher can't be part of this deal. In Illinois. He's American. Oh boy. I might have just shot myself in the begin with, because if he says he's not going to Vancouver, this deal, he's not going to be part of the deal. Maybe Mason Appleton. You'd have to that makes it tougher. Hopefully they can talk JT Compher to going to Vancouver. I didn't even think about checking his trade protection. But let me continue with the trade now. Like I said, Strommel, good prospect, but there's a good chance he doesn't even play, or he's a bottom three. But I think Vancouver would be happy with that return. The 2027 first isn't killing the Wild either. And so now in a situation where you don't have a number one center, you're not going into a deep rebuild. Highly unlikely. I mean, you just deep rebuild it for 9 fucking years. I think before he goes that route and just gives up completely, he would, Stevie Y wouldn't mind throwing these picks over to pray to God he can get the old Pedersen back to a certain extent. And Jake DeBrusk is a solid left winger. Bad situation in Vancouver the last couple of years, but when he was in Boston, he was a good 3-zone guy, can give you 50, 60 points. Like, you can give it a shot and go from there. Now, there was something that came up today that made my head go boom, kind of explode a little bit. DeBrincat is a free agent next year. That is scary if you're Detroit. That is so scary. I know DeBrincat loves it in Detroit. You have to wonder if Kane is going to come back without Larkin in there. But what if, and I was mentioned this before, DeBrincat goes, they all talking to each other, right? Larkin goes to Minnesota now. Kane says, all right, I'll follow you where you want to go. He's playing for like $2 million or whatever to stay in the cap and stay with his buddy Larkin. And he loves Detroit. And next year, DeBrincat's like, yeah, I'm going to. When Minnesota signs Hughes, has about 13 or 14 million signed DeBrincat. And I mean, you're talking about a wagon that Detroit's sitting there holding the bag going, holy fuck. If Kane signs in Detroit, yeah, I would say there's some Jaimes going on between the two. For sure. I would say that there is there's a little Jaimes connection going on there. Yeah. I'd say something like that. But all right, now I'm going to continue. So tear this down. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Pierre Maguire and Jimmy Murphy are right. He's going to give them 3-4 teams that he may go to because he just wants out right away. And, Stevie Yzerman puts his foot down and says, you give me 3-4 teams or you're sitting. I don't give a shit. This is my team. I got to do what's best for my team. I don't care about the fact that we won't make the playoffs next year. I don't, if you don't give me 3 or 4 teams, we're probably not making the playoffs next year anyways. You can sit your ass down, wait for it, or you can play or do whatever. I want 3 or 4 teams. If you want to leave, that's the way it's going to be. All right? That would be a big media fucking mess, big PR mess. Almost for surely they miss the playoffs next year, whether Larkin is in or not. But he puts his foot down and says that. So let's just say he does. And then Larkin's like, fuck. Okay. Calls up Minnesota, gets his agent. Because what Stevie Yzerman's going to do is tell your agent to go get a deal. Do the work for me. Go find some deals for me, and I'll take a look at them. I would if I were him. Being a general manager is a lot of work. You don't want to be taking these calls all the time. Then when they get the deals, he may call guys and say, let's adjust this or whatever. So Larkin then goes to his agent and says, Stevie's putting his foot down. He's telling me that I got to give him 3 or 4 teams. I don't want to go anywhere else. This is perfect for me. So they go back to Minnesota and say, what's the best you can do? And if Yzerman goes no, then they got to go elsewhere. He's got to probably give him 3 or 4 teams. Now, if I'm the agent, I'll tell him, okay, give him 3 or 4 teams, but I'm not going to do the trades for him anywhere. He can do the work himself. Fuck that. You don't want to go there. I'm your agent. I want what's best for you. You want to go to Minnesota. I'm not calling all the teams here. He's going to have to do the work now. So what teams do I think that Larkin would give? That's hard to say. I'm assuming that being close to his family is important to him. I'm assuming that. And if that's the case, then winning a cup is obviously important to him. So it's going to have to be a team that has a really good chance to win a cup. And whatever else is important to him. So it's going to be an Eastern team. Which, if you're Stevie Y, maybe that's not the greatest thing to begin with. But I would say the Carolina Hurricanes or the Washington Capitals. Carolina Hurricanes, Stankoven did well. They're not going to be desperate for a center, but Larkin's out there. They're probably going to be looking him up, It'll be Stankoven plus or whatever. It depends how much they want to get. Stevie Eisenman might call up those teams and they're like, if you can get that from Minnesota, you should probably take it. Because we don't want to give you that much. Where are you going? New Jersey? If he sure doesn't want to go anywhere, if he sure isn't want to sign there, I hear he sure does want to sign there. I have to believe New Jersey is going to want to sign him. That Murka is a analytics guy. If you look at the analytic model for Hischier, if he's wanting $9 or $10 million a year, you give it to him for sure. I don't see that being a problem. I don't see Hischier moving on unless for some reason he's not happy in New Jersey and he comes out and says he doesn't want to sign there, then maybe. So maybe a Larkin for Hischier deal. I mean, that would be great for Detroit, I would say, landing on their feet pretty well there. The new general manager in New Jersey is just trying to make hay, He's trying to just kind of bail out the water if Hischier wants to leave and he gets Larkin. I think he'd be happy. So I could see something like that if he wants to go all the way to New Jersey. New Jersey's a fair distance from Detroit. But, possibly. Carolina, I think Stankoven, Nadeau, first round picks, I don't think they mind giving up. You could put a package like that together, see if that's going to be better than what Minnesota can offer, or if that sways Stevie Eisenman. I don't know how much more they want to give up there. I'm sure he'd be asking for Nikishin. Blake would probably be on the table. Maybe, but I'm pretty sure he's going to want a center. I don't think Larkin would put Montreal on the list. I don't think he'd want to go to Canada. I mean, throwing all that tax money out and he's an American player. I don't think Boston would be on the list because they're just not ready to win. And with Washington, what kind of deal are they going to be able to offer that might be better than what Minnesota can offer? Strome, I really don't see them trading either one of the Protas brothers. Yeah, I mean, it was a three-way trade with Colorado. It's possible. What are you getting? You're going to have to, like, Kadri, I think Kadri's got no trade protection. So he'd have to waive to go to Detroit. Is he going to do that? Maybe. Is Kadri the answer for your problems there in Detroit? Can you not get a better deal? Would you not rather have a young Urov than an old Kadri? What kind of center are they going to get? They're going to need a center. Like, there's no doubt about it. They're going to need a center, whether in the deal or some other way. Now, that being said, that's why I said that Vancouver made sense. Give me another three-way deal for a center that's going to be better than Pettersson. Give me a three-way deal. Vancouver doesn't get enough back. They're getting nothing back for Pettersson. Nothing. DeBrusk is may get you a first. Maybe. I didn't even look at. I think DeBrusk has trade protection too. So whether he would want to go to Detroit, I don't know. I think he wants out of Vancouver, so I don't know. I think he'd be pretty. He said that he's open to a trade, and if a player says that publicly, it generally means I'd like a trade. He doesn't want to be in that rebuild. I mean, it's in the middle of a rebuild too, but at least they almost that. Holy shit, he's got a full no movement clause. No, wait, 2020. Yeah. He's got a full NMC. So I have to talk to. Did say he was open to a move. So they want it. They want to trade Pettersson. They've been trying to trade Pettersson for a while. As far as I know, only one team was willing to do it, and they wanted them to retain $3 million a year. They wanted them to retain $3 million a year. So right now, this is Detroit taking Pettersson at full cap. There ain't nobody touching Pettersson at full cap right now, man. The guy, what do you have, 55 points last year? His defensive analytics have dropped. He's been going on. He's been falling. He's been regressing like he's got an anchor around his neck for 3 years now. Somehow, and not only that, the new general manager there, Patterson or whatever his name is, Davids. I can't remember his name. What the heck is his name? I'd have to look it up. Anyways, the new general manager and the Sedins were talked to about it, and they all kind of said the same thing. It's up to Elias what happens next year. They're coming out and questioning his offseason commitment. And if they're doing this publicly, so that is not something that teams do, managers do, if they're trying to they're taking away the value of the player by doing that. They're basically putting their hands up and saying, look, nobody wants you. It's up to you. If you want to move, and I wouldn't doubt that Pettersson's open to a move. If you want to move somewhere, you got to commit this summer and come in ready to go. If you want to stay in Vancouver and, help us win, you got to do the same thing. So if you're another general, like now, Stevie, this is a big risk for Stevie Y taking Pettersson like this at this. There's just nothing else on the market. He's got to talk to the Pettersson's agent. He's got to talk to his people. They got to find out what they can do to get this guy committed. Ever since he got married to the supermodel wife and he got the bag, this guy has been on a straight regression. New coach, maybe, sure, but that's not almost nothing. A first-round pick, they'll probably, at this point, would probably be happy to get rid of him for a first-round pick. If somebody called him up right now and say, I'll take full cap hit, first-round pick, they'd be like, boom, finally. And that's exactly what would be happening here. So, and then they got to find a way to get to the floor. That's why they get Comfort back, if Comfort will go. There's a couple chinks in my trade there based on the fact that I didn't do enough homework to find out if there was trade protection by DeBrusk, although DeBrusk said he was open for a trade. I personally think DeBrusk ends up in Edmonton. He's an Edmonton boy. His father works in the media there in Edmonton. Maybe they can find a way to erase Jari's. I don't know what the return would be. I'm sure they're going to want Howard or something like that. And oh yeah, by the way, remember I was talking about Howard Uh, let me go to, where do I find these again? Draft, that's what it was, and then prospects. Oh, draft year. Oh, what's going on here now? Somebody taking over my computer or something? Okay. Isaac Howard. Okay. I'm going to show you something. It's kind of what I figured it would be. Isaac Howard. J Fresh cards. These are usually really accurate too. 24% chance of becoming an NHL or 1% chance of becoming a star. He had 57 points in 54 games in the AHL last year. Edmonton fans are thinking he's going to play with McDavid next year, some of them. And I said, he's one of those guys like Strommel. He had a big year on his 3D after 3 years after the draft. He was older at that time. When you're 3 years older, you're more like a man. You're going to have, if you've got some NHL skills, you can eat up college. But his overall game is absolutely diabolically bad. He does have offensive skill, but he's very selfish player, and doesn't have, his hockey IQ is very low. He doesn't know what to do in all three zones, away from the puck, all that kind of stuff like that. It's really bad, so bad that they're giving him a 24% chance of just being an NHLer, let alone being a star. And I think that's about right. Like I said, Jimmy Vesey is one of the, and he won a Hobey Baker. Jimmy Vesey is, of the last 20 years, Jimmy Vesey is the best player that won the Hobey Baker on his third year after drafted. Jimmy Vesey. So, Jimmy Vesey was pretty much a fourth line, maybe at best he was third line, generally fourth line guy. He didn't have high offensive skills, but he could do a lot of other things. Howard has high offensive skills, but can't do anything else. So if he's not playing in your top six, he can't play. And if he is a liability all over the ice, like 57 points in 54 games as a 22-year-old does not equate. He needs to get like 40 goals a game to make up for how poor he is for the rest of his game, like Fantilli. He's got to be Fantilli level. Fantilli's the same way. Fantilli doesn't know what he's doing all over the ice, but he's get him in the slot and you put the puck on his stick and he can bury it. He's very offensive. But the rest of his game, it's bad. And I hear that Howard's is worse. So unless he's potting 40 or 30 at least, he's not going to be an NHL. So I just thought I'd bring that up. Nurse to Vancouver. Why does, for DeBrusque, why does Vancouver need Nurse though? Nurse plus for DeBrusque. Is Nurse, remember, Nurse has a no, I'll put this up here. Nurse has a no movement clause. He does have offense. How much offense? How much is he doesn't look like, to me, at best. His ceiling is Jack Roslovich. That's the best he can become. And that's not very good. I like the guy that they traded for him more. I think he could be a solid third line center. Edmonton needs a cap room, but I mean, if he can't play, he can't play. What's the good of that? You're going to play him just because of cap room, even though he's a complete liability all over the ice? And they already struggle with that? They have like very few players that can play against top comp in all three zones. Very few, like they're very top heavy in that. Unless they sign Dickinson, they have one player basically in their bottom or one player in their bottom nine, second, third, fourth line. One player, Pod Colson. That's it. He's the only one. It's killing him. It's killing him. I have arguments with like these media guys that say that that's not the case, and like you think you know more than the coach. Knobloch literally doesn't know this. I think Knobloch knows this. He plays all the other players against bottom competition in low minutes. If he thought that they could play against top competition, would he not play him against top competition, for fuck's sakes? Like, ridiculous. I don't know where I think most of the guys I'm talking to, I just don't believe they're talking to Knobloch. They're just saying they are. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. But Nurse to Vancouver, Nurse has got a no movement clause too. Why would he go to Vancouver? He's probably going to block that trade. Oilers fans didn't want to trade Howard for OEL one for one. Yeah. I would have been happy with OEL. I'm not an Oilers fan, but if I'm them, I used to be an Oilers fan. If I'm them, I would have been happy with OEL. Trying to win now. Howard's a crapshoot player, man. There's a really good chance Howard struggles in the league. Really good chance. All right, so I wanted to bring that up. I think I talked. Oh, yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about with the Larkin trade, with whatever happens with the Larkin trade. The other problem that Stevie Yzerman has, if he puts his foot down like I said he would, you got an iconic player, the captain of your team, that's given everything to you for 10 years. This has been an extremely difficult situation for him. He's been loved by everybody in Detroit. He's an icon of Detroit, okay? He can spin it that he's got to spin it that Larkin's a bad guy a little bit here for PR reasons and for one other big reason. If you treat guys like this like shit, have fun getting free agents when you need them. Have fun. If he does put his foot down here and says and treats Larkin like that and says, you're sitting because I want your family to move to a different city that you don't want to, that you're not comfortable with, but I don't care. I got to take care of this team. If he does that, that's going to get around in the league. And Detroit already has a hard time because they haven't made the playoffs in 9 years getting free agents. If they treat Larkin like shit here, you can be rest assured that anybody out there thinking that they might want to go to Detroit, it'll be a lot easier for them to put Detroit on their no trade list. The Score just put out mock trades on Twitter. Send it to me this way. Send it to me and we'll go over them. I'll put them up here and we'll go over the trades and we'll talk about the viability of each one of them. Jay-Z. Oh, okay. We'll talk about it. I might do like a really long stream here. Fuck, I don't care. I should I should have been tagging what we're talking about. What do I got? Wait, let me tag this. What do we got? 1 hour. Did you send it to me on Twitter? Twitter. There we go. Where did you send it? In my chat? Or did you send it? Did you at me on it? Okay. You sent it to me on. Okay. All right, let's see this. All right, let's share this out then, right? Okay, here we go. You're going to be looking at it just the same way I am. We're going to start here with. Okay, Sportsnet. Let's have it. To Minnesota. Daniel Yuroff, Strommel, David Spacek in the 2000. I get that. It says, I'm taking a slightly different approach than the mock trade my colleague did, Kyle did, Top Shelf, but it's hard to deny that the Wild are an ideal fit. I think for sure they're going there. They're potentially number one center away from the Stanley Cup with several familiar faces from the gold medal winning. I didn't even think about that. Gold medal winning U.S. Olympic team, Boldy, Hughes, Fraber. Right, he's talked to all these guys. I forgot all about that. And GM Bill Guerin. It's a likely spot Larkin would be willing to go. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be his number one spot. So he says Yuroff, Strommel, Spacek in the 2001 first round pick. Now, if it just goes that way, Spacek makes sense. Let's face it, Detroit is pretty much retooling here quite a bit. Like they're rebuilding still. I already mentioned that Charlie Strommel is probably, there's a decent enough chance that he's not even an NHLer or borderline NHLer. Yuroff is a middle six. David Spacek's interesting, more of a defensive defenseman. I think he's like 21, 22. He's closer to ready. I think he's pretty sure he's a left defenseman. I'd have to look it up. Maybe you can look that up for me, Larry, in the 2001 first. I mean, I could see that. Just that alone. But it all depends on what Stevie Y's doing here. If he still thinks he can, there might be I think there's a lot of pressure in ownership in Detroit to get this done, to still continue to try to be a playoff team. If they do this, they're not a playoff team next year. And they're back to, bottoming out and getting picks and just keep on moving. And maybe that's what happens. I mean, I totally get that. Washington was one of them, and I mentioned that too. Rasmus, what the heck happened here? Oh, okay. Strome, Rasmus Sandin in the 2009-18. Are you taking that over this? You're off Stramel Spashik? I'm not. Dylan Strome has really regressed. He's only a second line center. Rasmus Sandin, a right D, he's okay, a forward. I mean, you're not making the playoffs with this trade. You're not making the playoffs with this trade. If you're going to do anything, you might as well take these young players and then keep your cap space and maybe just add free agents or something like that. Then take this deal. I wouldn't take this deal. I wouldn't take this deal over the Minnesota deal. I certainly wouldn't take it over the one that I suggested. I think it would take more than this. And maybe Washington would be able to give more than this. But if this is all they're willing to offer, they're not taking that. And that's just the two. That was it? Just two? Oh, no, there's more here. Anaheim Ducks. Okay. McTavish, Mintyukov, and a 2026 second-round pick. Mason McTavish can't skate, man. I'm still taking the Minnesota deal. I do like Mintyukov, but, I mean, I'm not taking – Mason McTavish is making $7 million a year, and the guy can't skate. And I don't think Dylan Larkin waves to go to Anaheim. Is that all there was three? Anaheim, Minnesota, Washington. That's it, right? Well, I don't know. They didn't bottom out enough. Thank you, Jay-Z Ott. Thanks for coming in. I don't know if they didn't bottom out enough as much as they got really unlucky when they were bottoming out. And they made one really bad move of taking Zadina. And they could have had Rossi. I think they could have had Sanderson even in that draft. I'd have to take a look, but they could have had Quinn Hughes. That was really bad. But they did nail Sider. Nice pick with Raymond. But they kept on losing the mock drafts over and over and over again. That was a big part of it. And I'm guessing this is mostly because it's really hard to sign free agents when you're rebuilding. You know, to me, they got players that are, I don't know, like Ben Sherratt. He's terrible. Ben Sherratt has got to be one of the most overrated players in the NHL. It's bad. How you get him to help out the young players? What if you're a coach? Just say, yeah, whatever Ben Sherratt is doing there, yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. Guy's bad. Who else did they get? The DeBrincat move, I mean, that was a good move. Yeah, can't really blame them for that. They didn't really get much for defensemen to help out their defensemen, but they still ended up becoming great defensemen. So very good. Like they got a top pair. It doesn't matter if you're original six if you suck, dude. And Detroit, the city itself, has gone downhill quite a bit. After the whole GM thing and everything, it's not the sexiest city like it used to be. And it's cold. A lot of teams don't want to go to cold. How many free agents want to go to a team that's rebuilding, regardless of who you are? It doesn't matter. Remember when Florida couldn't get anybody to go there because they sucked? You know, they eventually got hired an analytics department, one of the best in the league, probably the best in the league, paid a shit ton, paid some of the best analytic gurus in the world to come and find players like Verhage, They made the Huberdeau trade, which was fucking beautiful. Reinhardt from Buffalo, huge analytics guy. Like if you were in analytics, Reinhardt would pop and pop and pop and pop and. They went out and got him, but before that, they have no tax. They're a no tax state, and nobody wanted to go there. If they go back to sucking real bad, nobody's gonna want to go there either. Toronto's original 6 team, they're Toronto's original 6 team, and they're on like the top half of the no trade clause. What players that have them on their no trade list because they're in Canada. So is Montreal. All the Canadian teams are in the top half because of the taxes. Detroit's a little better tax-wise, but it's cold. And, you know, if they were even average, they would probably be all right. But teams aren't flocking to go to Detroit right now. Teams aren't flocking. Yeah, DeBrincat wanted to go to Ottawa. See, there's a situation where DeBrincat was like in Chicago. It was becoming, people wonder why. Oh, they shouldn't have traded DeBrincat. DeBrincat wanted to play in Detroit. He wanted to play in Detroit. He's from Detroit. He wanted to play there. So people giving Davidson, I think his name is, shit for trading DeBrincat in a rebuild. Like, you got to build around somebody. If DeBrincat had behind the scenes said, look, dude, I don't really want to sign along here. I want to go home and play in Detroit. Then Ottawa went and said, well, we'll try to convince them to play here instead of Detroit. They traded a pretty good package to get him for 1 year, even though DeBrincat was saying the whole time, I'm playing in Detroit. And then they trade him to Detroit with no leverage whatsoever. And you get what you get. Me personally, would I rather play in Ottawa or Detroit? Ottawa. I think Ottawa's a pretty city. I like Ottawa. I'm more a location person. They're both cold. I've been to Detroit. I mean, you can find your cool places there. They got cool pizza joints. The arena's cool. I mean, you have all the original Six stuff. But if you're asking me, Ottawa's a safer place to live. Detroit has higher crime. And if I got a family, I'd rather go. Ottawa's a very safe city to live. It's got beautiful buildings because of the legislature and its capital. Clean. And it's got nice cafes, nice roads. Yeah, I personally would choose Ottawa. I'd pay the higher taxes and be in Ottawa myself. But. Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. Alfie went to Detroit and moved his family back to Ottawa a year later. I did not know that. That's crazy. Yeah, I would definitely prefer to live in Ottawa. It's gone downhill, man. Detroit's gone downhill. Back in the 70s and 80s, man, Detroit was the shit. But it's not really anymore. And like I said, it's not good. They get back to winning on a regular basis. That changes the narrative for sure. Buffalo will have to do that too. Buffalo's not a sexy city either. So going back to what I was saying, Stevie Yzerman's got to watch his step, man. Because if he treats Larkin like shit, you got to remember, Larkin is a very prominent guy in the U.S. market. He's played in the Olympics. He knows all the Olympic players. Just mentioned, Minnesota is a really good spot for him because of Guerin, all the Olympic guys he played with, I'm sure. You know, you telling me these guys aren't talking to each other? For sure. All of those guys are going, hey, Larks, why don't you come play in Minnesota? Blah, 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 blah. Hughes is going, I know he's not American. Actually, yeah, he is American. What the hell am I talking about? Hughes, everybody. He was friends with Hughes for years. No doubt about it. That Minnesota is the team he wants to go to. It just makes 100%. 100%. If he was a free agent right now, and there was nothing to do with having to get traded, he's in Minnesota yesterday. It's just a question of what the return will be. 100%. So here's the thing now. If Stevie Y puts his foot down and says, fuck you, you sit, you give me more teams, I need to do what's good for this team, blah, 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 blah. He's messaging all those players and saying, Stevie's being an asshole. He won't let me go. He's telling me I got to fucking blah, 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 blah. That goes to all those American players. That goes all out to the league. And then when Stevie Y does build the team and needs to add players, everybody's like, fuck you, Stevie. I'm not going there. You got to watch how you treat players, man. It's a trade-off. I know he's going to take less here. But when this team is ready, if he treats Larkin properly, more players are going to be like, remember, oh, yeah, Stevie Y treated Larkin really well there. That's going to be a feather in their cap to be able to sign free agents later. Now, you got a guy like Vegas. You got a team like Vegas. They don't give a flying fuck. Seriously. They brought Fleury in, powdered them all up, told him you're going to be the face of the franchise. Couple of years later, he's getting older, and they think he's going to regress, and they're like, yeah, okay, I know it, yeah, but yeah, we don't need you anymore. Say okay, bye. They don't give a flying fuck. You know why? Because they have low taxes. I don't know if they have no taxes. It's a warm weather place, and they believe in themselves that they're going to be winning constantly all the time. They made the finals this year. You don't want to come here? Too bad. Fuck you then. I don't care. We'll find somebody. People are going to want to go to Vegas. It's warm. It's got cool things to do there. It has gotten pretty shitty around there, from what I understand. I haven't been back there. I haven't been back there for a bit. I go on poker. I used to go on poker trips all the time because I like to play poker. But ever since it became private and the mob the private industry took over from the cartels, it's gone downhill. But it's still warm. They're still winning all the time. They don't care. Fire coaches 8 games before the playoffs. What Gallant won a Vezina or won a Adams, and the next year they fired him. Not even a thought about it. Every player that there knows. Like Hurdle probably knows this is his last year. Hill knows that they're going to find a way to trade him. They don't. Loyalty there only goes as far as whether you're winning. That's their attitude. So, but players still flock there. Anderson basically blocked every move from Calgary until he got to Vegas. Who are you trying to get? You got a buddy who's a Vancouver Canucks fan. Oh, I hope he does come in here. Yeah. But Detroit doesn't have that advantage. It's not a warm city. It's gone downhill as far as the city is concerned. It's not as sexy as it used to be. They haven't won in a long time. If Stevie Y puts out this narrative out there or puts out this energy out there that he's going to treat a captain like this because he's spent 10 years there and you didn't do fuck all and he doesn't want to end his career, this is the way players are going to see it. Look, you didn't build a team around Larkin for 10 years and you're going to treat him like shit after he basically wasted most of his career waiting for you to make a team, and now you're going to make him sit and embarrass the fucker in Detroit, and you want me to sign with you as a free agent? Yeah, fuck off, dude. Yeah, I'm not doing that. So he's got that to look at too. If he does that, as soon as the Larkin trade happens, if he happens to push him off to Washington or something like that, if he finally breaks and says, fine, I'll take Carolina, Washington, and then he goes to those teams and finds out that Minnesota still outbids him, he's going to look like an asshole. If he does send Larkin to one of those teams when Larkin really didn't want to go to either one of those teams, step the fuck down, dude. Like, immediately. Either step down, even better, Detroit should say, we're going to put him in a different role and get a different general manager immediately. Time God. Okay, football's on. All right, put the trade up and let's see what he thinks. All right, okay. He's here? Okay, I just got to share it here. Just one sec. Sure. Okay, I got to go over to Twitter so I can make sure that you can see it. There it is. To the Wild, Larkin. To Detroit, Urhoff, Pettersson, DeBrusk, Brodin. To Vancouver, Strommel, Wild's first in 2027, and JT Compher. And JT Compher. Obviously, the Wild are going to be, I think they're going to be tearing it down, and they've been trying to get rid of Pettersson forever. Pettersson, nothing exists until hockey is done. Nothing exists until hockey is done. But that's the deal. I made this deal based on the fact that Vancouver has been trying to get rid of Pettersson for a long time now. I think even Pettersson has been backdoor asked for a trade, but nobody will touch him unless they retain $3 million. All right, what do you think you're getting for Pettersson? Just going to keep him then? I think if they got a first-round draft pick for Pettersson right now, they would, with nothing retained, they take that deal all day long. All day long. They get rid of $11 million in cap space for a guy that's regressed heavily for 3 years, ever since he signed that contract. He's now about a very good second-line center, maybe borderline elite, but he's falling big time. And Strommel, he's got a chance to make it. So far, they haven't wanted to retain any. And this gives you nothing. You don't need to retain nothing. You're getting rid of 11.5. And you're washing your hands with them. This from a man, like I just mentioned, that you think $2 million will get him retained? Maybe. I don't think so. Because I'm guessing they probably offered the retainment. Maybe. But when your manager the new manager there, and his name escapes me at the moment. I don't know why. When the new manager there, and both of the Sedins basically publicly say that it's up to Pedersen what happens. It depending on his commitment this summer. You say that publicly, that sounds like people putting their hands up in the air and saying, look, it's up to you. Nobody wants you, man. If you want to move from here, you got to commit over the summer and come back. Either that or you can stay. We'll trade you if you show that you're not regressing to the fucking regressing to death next year. Because if you come back next year and you continue this regression, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know what we're going to do here. You're going to rot in Vancouver and watch us rebuild as you just keep on sucking. That's about what's going to happen there. General managers don't come out and say that shit. Well, he's not really free. I think Strommel is basically Pedersen, and the first round pick is DeBrusk. DeBrusk has a no movement clause too. So DeBrusk for a first is probably what you're looking at, I would imagine. If they're looking to rebuild, I don't think you're getting like a 13th or 14th overall for DeBrusk, unfortunately. Now, maybe if a team thinks he can get back to what he was in Boston, maybe. What else do you want to get for him? What do you think you're getting for Pedersen? Like when I hear a manager and managers or whatever you want to call them now, I don't even know what they're called, come out publicly and say what they said about Pedersen, that tells me they did everything they could and they didn't get anything worth anything. That tells me that the team that wanted $3 million retained was offering not much in return just to take the contract. That's what that tells me. If you're going to get this day, if in a cap world, if you're trying to get rid of $11.5 million for a player on a cratering regression that basically looks like was an elite center and now in a matter of 3 or 4 years has fallen to above average second line center at $11.5 million, if you get a Strommel or something like that for that, you fucking take it. Unless you have some reason to believe he's turning around tomorrow. In fact, if I'm Stevie Y, he's crossing his fingers on this trade. And I think he's only doing a trade like that if he's got a mandate from the owners and management, or upper management, even higher than him, that we cannot afford to go another 7 more years here. You've got to do something. If they say, you know what, you got to do Stevie Y and just take then that trade that was on whatever that score was, is probably fine. You get Strommel, you're off. That Spacek kid looks like he could be a decent defenseman in a first. Probably just take that and continue going forward like that. But if he makes that move, he has to continue to try to make the playoffs, how is he going to get another center? There's no centers out there. I mean, there are, but you're going to have to give up a shit ton to get them. So that's one way you might be able to get rid of Pedersen. But it shows you how much the market is scared of taking Pedersen at that price, even though the market doesn't have a lot of centers on it. And your management is saying, it's up to you, dude. Nobody wants you right now, so you better hit the gym. I don't know. Ever since he got the bag and the model wife, he's just fucking regressed all the shit. And if they're saying it's commitment in the off season, that says to me the guy's coming in worse shape every year. Apparently, his model wife lives in Sweden, and they go back and forth, doing whatever they're doing. It doesn't sound like his mind is 100% on hockey anymore. And they're basically saying, do something with your life here. Get it so hockey's the number one thing in your life, or you're not going anywhere. If he's asking for a trade behind the scenes, there hasn't been anything that says that he did ask for a trade, but it's very possible that he could be getting fed up in Vancouver too. If you're open for a trade, they're out trying to trade him. I believe he has no movement clause. Why would they be out to try to trade him if he's got a no movement clause? I would imagine he's kind of open to it, or to a certain degree. And they're basically saying, we might be able to, but everybody knows how you are. And they're saying it publicly. So they're coming right out and telling the world, they're publicly humiliating him. Now, that's what they've come to publicly humiliate them, to say, get your fucking shit together, or you're going to just watch this rebuild and continue to fall. They 11.5 million and Larkin too. I mean, you could be right. Vancouver may need a little more because of the DeBrusk thing. I'll give you that. It's not going to be a lot more, though. You could be right about DeBrusk. I personally think DeBrusk is a good player. I think he's just kind of got in a shitty, the toxicity in Vancouver. I look at the analytics and I watch him on the ice. I do both, by the way. I watch a divorce-worthy amount of hockey. I don't just stare at analytics and say whatever. I look at things in context. Contextually speaking, I think there's no reason why DeBrusk can't get back to what he was in Boston. And if he does, then that's a good acquisition. It's just, does a team want to drop a lower first to get him? What do they want to give up to do that? Maybe it does take a little more from Detroit, but it's going to be like a prospect that you're not getting Danielson or Brandeskeg or guys like that. You'll get one of their lesser prospects on top of it. Could possibly see that. And then DeBrusk can just say no, and this is all shit. This is all down the toilet anyways, because he's got I can't remember what his trade protection, but he has trade protection. If Detroit's on it, it's all, the deal's done. There's more value to keeping him. I mean, I don't think you have a choice but to keep him. If he continues regressing the way he is, another 2 years, there's no value in anything with Pettersson. He's going to be an anchor on your freaking roster. It's at 11.5. They're going to have to hold on to him until he's got some decent buyout years, maybe. And I think that's what a lot of teams are thinking. What do you want to do? Do you want to roll the dice and buy him out later? Or do you want to retain $3 million, get rid of your problem, and we'll give you a pick or something? Especially if Pettersson doesn't he have a full no move? Like, he can waive anything. I don't know why at this point. I don't know if there's too many teams he wouldn't go to. He's not a UFA. 2032, man. 11.6 on your cap. It's full no movement clause. He's got a full no movement clause. For Vancouver, man. Terrible. Holy shit. It's just a terrible situation. They have no leverage whatsoever, man. None. I don't know who the team was that said if you retain $3 million. My gut says Washington was it, because Washington has taken flyers on guys like Dubois and stuff like that, who was passed around the league, kind of had a reputation of an attitude problem and stuff like that, and they took home yeah, Besser got a full no movement clause too. But when a team publicly comes out and says that, it's not looking good. That's all I gotta say. All right, I'm gonna tag this. Oh, did I not mark it down? It was like 108. 140. One thing I'd like to get into is, and this is more of a discussion thing because I just thought about it, but how far is Tampa away from rebuilding here? I'm going to share out. I'll share out. Tampa Bay. I mean, they've lost in the first round. How many years? 4 years in a row now. Braden Point is low key, hard. His offensive numbers before this year were not bad, but defensively, he was getting worse and worse. This year, he was diabolical. Kind of reminds me of what happened to Kane, although Braden Point used to be a good guy that way. He had an injury a couple of years ago, and it seems since the injury, it's just gone downhill for him. He's going to have no trade protection after next year. No trade. No movement clause comes off. 10-team, no trade. Jake Gunsel will be there. years old, years left. Kucherov's not getting any younger, but he's still amazing. He's going to be amazing for a while. Brandon Hagel, obviously that line, Cirelli and Hagel and Gunsel and Kucherov are always going to be beasts. But Point's fallen off. And then you've got what? Gergensen, Gianni Gorge, 34. Nick Paul looks like he's just fallen off a cliff. Holmberg was a beautiful pickup. That could save him. Dominic James, I mean, he's pretty good, but I mean, is he really? And Connor Geekie still hasn't hit his stride in the NHL. Victor Hedman, I hope whatever his mental health issues were, or he comes back and does well. He's 35 and slowing down. Moser was a beautiful pick from Utah. Never saw that coming, what they did with him. I didn't see that coming. If there's a better defenseman development team than Tampa, I don't know. Ryan McDonough is going to be retired soon, a couple of years. Chernak's getting up to 29. He's been slowing down. Toast, of course. He's a free agent. They have no cap room. I could see them getting pretty good money out there after that good year. Our premium out there right now. I don't know, like 27. He's 28 years old now. He hasn't. It's been the first year he's actually probably pulled in a full million. There's going to be teams out there for him. I don't know if it'll be Detroit he signs with, but and of course Radish making 11 million. You're going to give him 11 million. Vasilevsky's 31. He should be good for a while. That should be fine. And they keep on grabbing some, players that can come up and do well, but nobody that's taking like the top guy spots. It might not be for a bit, but is Tampa Bay looking at themselves pretty soon here and thinking, you know what, we're not contending? Point has really regressed, dude. He's solid, but if he's not a guy. Okay, let me check this out. He's a good 2C now. He's not a 1C anymore. I would take Larkin over Point all day long. Replace him. It's really been a downward slope for Point. I'll get him up here. This is a guy that used to be one of the best defensive players in the league. And last year he bumped up to about 25% above replacement. Apparently that was a lot of late season. Maybe he just struggled with injuries and you're going to see an uptick in him. But he used to be an elite number one. He's still got great shot. He's still got all of that. But how much are you going to want to chuck him after this? And you sign him long, and he's already regressing. Well, I mean, he was always he was a good offensive player. But every year, like this doesn't show the fourth and fifth, but if you looked at it, it was way up here. After that injury, his defensive game just went absolutely to shit. And I think that had a lot to do with the fact that I think it was a foot problem too. He's still a good play driver. I mean, he's not a terrible player, but he's not an elite number one anymore. I wonder if quite often when it comes up to the no trade clause, being a 10-team no trade clause, how much longer is this lineup going to hold together? How much longer is this team going to realize okay, let's look at the cap space, their future cap space here. only have 13 million this year. I'm not going to, but I'll just. And they don't really have anybody to sign. So they could sign someone this year. Well, I think Coleman is a guy that they're going to be looking at. After that, Kucherov, they're going to have 43 million. Kucherov, what's he going to get? Kucherov's got to get somewhere around 17 of that 43. Oh, yeah, Radish. They got 13 million and they got to sign Radish. I'm hearing Radish on the open market will get 9.5. If they sign him, they're going to sign him long. That's pretty much all their cap space. So you could take 17. You're talking about Kaprizov money here. 17 for Kaprizov. That's what, 26 million. Let's say Radish goes 8.5, could get 9.5, 10 on in somewhere else. That's 15 million left. And Vasilevsky is going to be a free agent in 2028-29. Yeah, they could sign. No, they won't be able to sign free agents, but they might have room to sign free agents next year. It's just the team's getting slower and slower, and Hedman's only getting so old. Why would Kaprizov not get Why would Kucherov not get Kaprizov money? 130-point player not get Kaprizov money. Kucherov's not getting Kaprizov dollars. You're telling me you think Kaprizov's a better player than Kucherov? Kucherov is an elite offensive. What is it? 2 years ago, he got points on 50% of his team's goals. At least 1 point on 50% of his goals. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he's not going to get a long $17 million deal. Maybe 2 years, something like that. Maybe they could bring it down till he's 40 and bring it to, yeah, you're right. Maybe they can bring it down till he's 40 and he gets 14 million or something like that, 15 million. Maybe he just takes a huge hometown discount and fucking does a yeah, that's one way they could keep the dream alive, is if Kucherov goes like rogue and goes like 13 million till he's 40 or something like that. I don't know if he got overpaid. Kaprizov got overpaid. It's hard to tell what the with the how much this cap is going up. We'll be able to see if he gets overpaid or not. I'm not a capologist. 3 years at 8 million, yeah. I don't know. I think this is more of a. I was just looking at it today. I mean, losing to Montreal, a young Montreal team like that in the first round. Then again, they did look nervous, but Even Dobish said to, what is it? Dobish said, I guess you guys are nervous, I guess. I think that was more to do with getting in their heads. But they did look nervous to me. Their shots, they missed a lot of chances over the net, shot right at the goaltender. They didn't play like they were confident against Montreal. So I might be pushing the envelope a little bit here. But if point takes less, maybe it turns out okay. I'm just a little bit concerned about where points going here. Maybe it took him 2 years to get over this injury, whatever, and now he's really starting to get strong and he takes off. And then whatever. They still got the best shutdown line in the game, I think, if they put them together in Gunsel, Hagel, and Sorelli. So that's always going to be good. Yeah, Tampa Bay should have won that game for sure. Yeah, I think I'm going to do all my picks for the Colorado game tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning at 10:30 a.m. I'm going to do all my picks. Because one of the things, I'll talk a little bit about it. I got to know if McNabb's going to be in. That really changes things. If McNabb's not in, that changes things a lot. If McNabb isn't in, Coughlin's going to have to play more minutes. And Tortorella never put it out there. Anybody happen to hear if McNabb's going to be in tomorrow? It's pretty hard to get that information. I think this just Tampa Bay is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I mean, Dastu, I call him Ass Toast. If they sign Ass Toast and Radish, their defense should look okay. I don't know how long Hedman is going to play for now. They were injured a lot last year. I don't know with Hedman if it was injuries, and I don't know what the actual problem was. Like going to the player assistance program now, they keep it private what the problem is, and it should be. Nobody should know. But the immediate thing you go into is some sort of substance abuse. I actually kind of hope that is what it is, and he overcomes it and then comes back heavy, strong, and we get to have a couple more years of watching Hedman because I fucking love Hedman. Two weeks before he can play? You think he has a broken nose and jaw? If he has a broken jaw, he's fucking out. He's out for sure if he's got a broken jaw. That changes things a lot. Like he is that Vegas doesn't have the best. They have really good defensemen, but not really good depth on D. That changes things a lot. Oh, how could that be? What? It's just because they haven't updated or what? Puckpedia has McNabb in. Daily face off. Anybody got other stuff that shows? Yeah, if it's just lost teeth, that's not going to, they can get that up. Hate to say it, really. I mean, it's true. I don't know. Let me see here. Daily Face-Off is a better. Okay. Daily Face-Off has him in on a day to day. They just have him day to day. If he's in, it's almost as simple as if he's in, I'm going to go with Vegas. And if he's not, I'm going to go with Carolina. I'm leaning no goals first 5 under 6.5. I do think it'll be under. I think that one will be tight. Was Brian Little still playing when Ehlers back there? Really? Jesus. I'm going to look at some of the other players on. Let's see if there's regression in other players. Can't remember now. Cooch. Sometimes my eye test fools me. Yeah, Kucherov, he's never been great defensively, but the last 2 years from him, he's been pretty much non-existent. Close to zero, but I mean, he's an elite offensive player. So elite. It's crazy. What other old guys there? Oh, yeah. McDonough still freaking is amazing. Ryan McDonough, it's amazing what he puts up. He could still be good for a long time. Second pair, plays top competition. Yeah. He's an incredible player for a guy his age. How do you spell Chernak? Oh, it's no H. Jesus. See, Eric Chernak has low key not been great for a while. He's only 20 years old. He's one of the most overrated players. He's very good. I mean, he gives you physicality in the playoffs, but there's better. As to 43% competition. Yeah, I mean, they'd like to keep him. Darren Radish, a big bump. I mean, there's a lot of people saying that if he goes somewhere else, he's not going to be as good as if he is in Tampa Bay, and it's possible. But I mean, it's hard to ignore how well he played. He was really good, and it took a while. Like the thing that I think about him staying in. That him staying in Tampa that leads me to think that he might take less to stay in Tampa. It is a no tax state, of course. It's warm, but they also stuck with him his whole career. Like I think there's lots of places that he could have played in that he would have bounced around the league and never been as good as he is. And I think he knows that. Like he just takes me as a guy that bleeds Tampa. I wouldn't be surprised if he took less. But I also wouldn't be surprised if he went for the bag, if somebody's really going off for him. I think he's going to test the free agent market and try to find a number the less to stay in Tampa. But I mean, he never got paid the big bucks yet in his career, so he's got to take care of his family too. Yeah, he could go to Toronto. I mean, Toronto's going to have to pay up for that. That's going to be an expensive bill contract for Toronto. You're paying damn near, like, when you're making that kind of money, you're paying damn near 60% of your money in taxes, 60.3 in income tax. And not only that, like in the United States where they have the no tax states, they get you elsewhere. Because I live in the United States now. Uh, I live in the United States now, and like Dallas and like those no tax states, their food taxes, gas taxes, property taxes, housing are high, very high. Yeah, I mean, the only way he would stay in Tampa is, like I said, is that they were the ones that got him there. But if he doesn't stay in Tampa, if he takes the bag, 9 or 10 million, I'm sure Toronto will be offering that up. The Rangers probably will. Well, Detroit doesn't have the money, but if they make that move, maybe Detroit does. But why would you want to? Again, why would you want to go to Detroit? I think he's from the Toronto area. If he dreamed to be a Maple Leaf, if they can whisper in his ear and say, "Hey, I think we got McDavid in 2 years," I have a feeling they do actually. But yeah, Toronto has tons of cap space. But as it stands, do you really want to go to Toronto? I mean, he hasn't made huge money his whole career. If he had already been making, if he had 30, 40 million in his pocket, maybe I think Toronto. But for a guy who hasn't really made large, do you want to go to a high tax city like that? And if money doesn't matter to you all that much, why not just stay in Tampa Bay for 7? That's about how much you're bringing home in Toronto, anyways. That's the struggle about being a Canadian team, a lot of Canadian teams. But they have Falk. They need right D. If they can afford to get Radish, move Falk over to the left or something for whatever. I'm not saying that they will do that. I'm just saying that's a team. And he won't go there anyways. For all the reasons I already suggested, he won't go there. He's not going to go to a team. Why would you go to a team that you're a free agent? You have choices to go to. You're going to go to a team that hasn't made the playoffs in the last 9 years? Probably not. Other places you could go. I mean, who knows? Seattle might do something like they do crazy shit. Uh, St. Louis, I wouldn't doubt that. I wouldn't doubt because I don't think St. Louis is going to go do a deep rebuild. I don't think Thomas is going anywhere. I think they just used him to get rid of Shen and do a retool. They could use defensemen there. Uh, Washington doesn't have Carlson anymore. They got cap space. Maybe Washington. Winnipeg will call and he'll hang up the phone immediately. But I do agree. I think Toronto will throw them the bag. Yeah, I mean Falk isn't really that good though, so He fucked up. Play him on the offside. He's not going to be there for long anyways. It's not like they're going to re-sign him or anything like that. Yeah, Flyers could throw them the bag. They need help. I could see the Flyers if he wants to go to Philly. If he thinks Philly's going to be competitive in the next little while, it's less taxes there. I could see it. Play Chikrin 3D and on the power play. You already got Chikrin paid. You can still make. You can even up that. You can even up the ice time, just like Carolina does. Oh, yeah, he's not going to get top. You're going to be fighting for top power play time there, but they're trying to win now. I wouldn't doubt if they gave that a shot. If they strike out on Tuck and they strike out and they're still trying to win one for Ovi, sometimes the position isn't really that big of a deal. You could go to Nashville. Nashville will probably throw them a bag. I don't think they ever going to rebuild. They keep on getting draft picks, though. They got 2 seconds, 3 firsts. They're trying to hold on there in Nashville. Nicholas Perbix, yeah, I could see Nashville throwing him a bag. They're no tax state. I could see that. That's probably exactly where he ends up going. If I realize truth, I could. 27 million cap. What do they got to pay? Who do they got to pay? Eric Holla and Jost. That's it. They got 27 million in cap space. They're not rebuilding. I know they're not rebuilding. There's no way. They're not going to ever rebuild. They're just not. They can't afford it. Can't afford to lose. Nobody would show up to that arena. They got to try to make the playoffs every year, and they got to try to draft well to be able to do it. It's just no doubt about it. They got 59 million in cap space the following year. Signed, but most of them are restricted free agents. I could so see him going, oh, dude. Yeah, I agree. I think Nashville's a better place. Nashville's not rebuilding, dude. They're doing. They're gonna do like this tweener shit. Tweener shit. I bet you they're not selling off. They sold off a couple older guys. They did well drafting. That Wood kid is going to be good. Svechkov looks like he's going to be good. They're bringing in younger players in and kind of going at the same time. I don't think they have many defensemen that are ready to go yet. They're not like rebuilding. Tear it down. They'll next year. Wood kid I like a lot. He could have a really good year next year. In there, Forsberg would be gone. They certainly would have re-signed Saros. got, Annonen is ready there. Josie would have had a talking to. They went out and got Brady Shea, 30 years old. That doesn't sound like a rebuilding team to me. Would not be surprised at all. They got that Tanner Mollendijk kid. I don't know how he's progressing. He didn't crush it offensively last year, but he's only 21. He's probably going to be a couple of years. That Yuri Surin guy at KHL looks like he could be a good one. They got a lot of young players coming up, but I think they're going to bring young players in, bring young players in. That's what they're going to do. Oh, Cameron Reed, what was that? 2025 first. Yeah, he's only 19. Could turn out all right. But it's probably a couple of years away. I could definitely see that. I could definitely see them forking over the bag for Radish if he wants to just really make money. It's a team trying to do things outside of the box because they can't afford to do a tear down rebuild. They just can't in Nashville. The fan base just goes away. They don't have sponsorship money to throw around and keep them afloat. Like, yeah, owners got deep pockets, but you don't want to be throwing money away hand over fist with your investment. And whatever sponsors they do have, they're going to be calling them up going, look, you're doing a deep rebuild. We're out, man. I don't want to fucking. We're not going to attach our name to a shitty team for the next 7 years. It's tough to do a deep rebuild in a place like Nashville, in a small market. It's not a traditional hockey market. They got to do things outside of the box. I think they've done well. They've drafted well. They've drafted really well. It could turn out all right. They just won't. They can't. They can't rebuild, Jay. Trotz goes in there. The ownership is like, look, help us. We can't rebuild. What are we going to do? What does he do? He's going to get or so, as many guys as they possibly can. As many guys as they can that can play. And then, I don't know if they spend a lot of money on their drafting and developing. I imagine they must. Like, that's where you want to put your money, but they do well at it. They do well. Brady Martin, 5th overall, yeah. But they can't have too many years like that where they're getting bottom 5. They can't. They can't do it over and over and over again. They just can't afford it. Some teams just can't afford it. If the cap keeps on rising like this, teams like Nashville, Winnipeg, maybe not Carolina, small Columbus, although they at least got a really good fan base there. But these teams that are not getting huge sponsorship deals and stuff like that, they're going to be in trouble. There's going to be a lot of teams. If the way the cap's going up, there might be teams that struggle to make the floor every year. I just don't see it. They'll probably trade some guys if they're out of it at the deadline to get some picks or prospects or whatever, like little trinkles at a time. But they're not going to go out and get, okay, Stamkos gone, Marchessault gone, Forsberg gone, Josie gone. It's not happening, man. It's not happening, especially with their marketable players. Stamkos, one of the reasons why he was brought in is he's a big name guy. He's marketable. Sponsors love that shit. People forking over, paying the bills, and keeping the lights on, they want big names. You trade Josie, they're going to be pissed. Forsberg, pissed. Yeah, I mean, logically speaking, Larry, you're right. Or it's not Larry who said that. Jay Z. Jay Z. Logically speaking, you're probably right that they shouldn't rebuild here or they shouldn't expand. But dollars, 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 dollars. Guess who gets to vote for expansion? The owners. $1 billion in the pants. Yep, we're good. We got lots of talent coming. Whatever, I don't care. Fucking $1 billion, we're doing it. They don't care. I agree. There's not enough talent out there right now. There's a lot of guys that are. They're going 34 in the next 2 to 4 years. Yep, it's happening. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. They're gonna try again in Atlanta. Guarantee you. Arizona, they'll get a building. Going back there. The big thing that the owners want it, man. Bettman gets a lot of flack, but Bettman doesn't make a lot of these decisions. You think they do, but he does, but he doesn't. Bettman's trying to keep owners happy most of the time, and then he tries to spin it into it's good for the league. The playoff format that everybody hates, ever since they started it, the first round has had more viewers than ever. And they used to have hardly any views. Now they're getting more. They're getting better numbers. Does it make sense to do it that way? Like hockey wise, logically, hockey wise, no, of course not. But more numbers, man. That's all that matters. They got to keep those owners happy. They got to keep sponsors happy. You don't do that, you're fucked. That's just the way it is. Yeah, I mean, especially the guys that make the top dollar in Sweden, they don't want to leave. Are they winning a cup with Nashville? It would be a miracle, I think, probably. They got to hit big. They'd have to build. I think they're drafting well. I don't know how that Martin kid's going to turn out. Like, they're going to build a team that has like four. It's like if Carolina loses this year, they're probably not going to be able to get that high end guy, but they got so much cap space. I would work on having like 4 number 2 lines. Have no fourth line. Just have 4 number 2 lines. So 4 second lines. Just roll 4 second lines over and over and over again. Get Bobby go get McMahon. See if McMahon will come. Jenner, give him a bag, and one of those fourth line guys can probably do all right there. But I mean, put those guys on the fourth line. Then you got Martinook, Stahl for another year. Is that guy ever going to get old? Fucking incredible. Stahl and Ehlers. Then you got the Stankoven line with Hall, and then the top line. And you got like Jenner, McMahon, and who's on the right side there? Jankowski is like your 13th guy. You just roll those 4 lines. You just tire the other team out over and over and over again. And you can keep maybe. But I mean, Jenner is a third liner. McMahon can play him up and down the lineup. Like that would be Carrier, maybe Carrier. Fuck, what a lineup you would have! Holy shit! They could throw Radish the bag. Fuck. Jalen Chatfield, he shouldn't be playing top. The only problem is Nikishin is there. Is he a left-handed? No, he's right D. Gosh, Spear's getting up there. You don't really need Gosh to Spear. He plays against lower lines. But Radish to Carolina is interesting. Then I don't know, like depends on if McMahon wants to go to Carolina. Carolina seems to be not the sexiest city in the world, but if you like anonymity and you want to win a cup, and they're making the finals this year, and they got shitloads of cap space. And there's no real big name out there that they can draw. They tried to get Rantanen, didn't work out. It's not for a lack of trying, but maybe go in a different direction and just be the deepest team in the league by a long shot. All right, I guess I'll call it a night. 2.5 hours I've been on for. Thanks for coming in, everybody. I know probably nobody will watch this. Who's going to watch this for 2.5 hours? I'm so fucking stupid. Jaime's Body Lube. By the way, Mr. Larry did this up for me. Show our products. Smoked maple. Jaime's Body Lube. It is absolutely fantastic. Spicy chipotle. This isn't all of them. This is 3. This is our most popular, citrus herb. First time they've kind of went with this, like, it's usually like, it's always been fruity, or like we had pistachio, nut, flavor, chocolate, all that kind of stuff like that. But this year we're going with the barbecue Somerset. Fucking beautiful. I've tried them all. They're all fantastic. You can go get a vat from Costco. Just go up to the Costco lady, ask, where's your lube section? I like to get some Jaime's, and they'll show you the vats in the back there. I bring a U-Haul. That's what I do. I have my own U-Haul. I bought one. Go down there every week, load up a couple vats. Of course, you can go to my Perlo's NHL POW there. Sign yourself up to a 1-year package with the promo code Jaime's 12, and it's only $150 for a year, and I'll send you a vat of your choice, whichever one you want here. Perlocoptered by Hernandez or Melissa or Larry. Who's the Shu Shuang? You got an Oriental, Shu Shuang. It's driving the Perlocopter now. We got so many now. I lose track of all their names, but we'll Perlocopter right to your door, well, right to your backyard. If you're a condo, it'd be your front yard. Maybe you got a landing pad on top of your house. Wherever you want, goes down right there. And you'll get a vat for free. Go support the Jaime's Fund there at Perlo's NHL POW. $150, up some between 400 to 7. My max is 700 units a year. In a year, Never green, not even close to green, ever, 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 ever. Also, check out JD, Jonathan Davis over at Vsin, VSIN. He's got all of his picks over there. You can get him, find that at West Coast NHL HKY. He sends free picks there all the time, but you go over to Vsin and he does a live show on there all the time. He's also on Sirius Radio on a regular basis. I believe he's on after both games in Vegas, and he's going to see both games in Vegas. He's a reporter for the Los Angeles Kings. Really good inside guy. You can watch us there. Watch us and Dre Martinez, Parlay Dre. The guy is unbelievable. Go get him at Twitter at Exotic Wagers. He's got a free service he's doing right now. He got a Telegram and a Discord going on. You can join that at Exotic Wagers. Best parlay, NHL parlay better I have ever seen. And you can watch us tomorrow night. Wait a sec. Is there a game tomorrow? What am I doing? I got a show tonight. I got to get on that. Okay, bye.